Ladies and gentlemen, there's something profound happening beneath the surface of every interaction, something beyond words, beyond logic and unspoken language that governs attraction, respect, and even destiny itself. And when it comes to men, there are 7 qualities they notice in a woman, not through thought, but through feeling. You see, a man doesn't consciously say, she has the perfect energy, the right presence, the most graceful movement. No. Instead, he feels it before he understands it. And that's because every human being is constantly broadcasting a signal, an electromagnetic field of thoughts, emotions, and subconscious beliefs. And this signal is either pulling people in or pushing them away. The first thing a man notices in a woman, before she even speaks, is her energy. Not her beauty, not her outfit, but the frequency she emits. You've met people who light up a room before they say a word. You've also met people who drain the air out of it. This is not accidental, this is physics. A woman who radiates confidence, joy, and self-awareness sends out a frequency that commands attention. Then there's her presence. Is she here right now? Or is she lost in her phone, in her thoughts, in the noise of 100 unfinished conversations in her mind? Presence is rare, and anything rare is valuable. A woman fully engaged in the moment has a gravitational pull, because men, too, are seeking an escape from the distractions of life. The third quality is the depth behind her eyes. Eyes don't lie. They hold emotion, wisdom, and the stories of every experience she has ever had. A man can sense whether those eyes carry fear, bitterness, or an open heart willing to embrace the unknown. The way a woman looks at the world says everything about the way she experiences it. Next, there is her ability to make a man feel seen, not through flattery, not through scripted words, but through the simple act of genuine attention. A woman who listens, not just with her ears, but with her entire being, creates a space where a man feels valued, and in that space, he finds himself opening up, being more. Then we have the way she moves through the world. Is her posture slouched, weighed down by burdens, or does she walk with intention, with grace, with an unshakable sense of self-respect? Because how she carries herself tells the world how she expects to be treated, and whether he realizes it or not, a man picks up on this instantly. But perhaps one of the most powerful qualities a woman possesses is the strength in her silence. Because real power doesn't always need to speak. A woman who knows when to pause, when to let the moment breathe, when to resist the urge to fill the silence, she commands respect without demanding it. And the seventh, the most profound, is something that cannot be taught, only remembered: her connection to herself. A woman in alignment with who she truly is, who does not seek validation but radiates it from within, becomes unforgettable. Because she is no longer chasing, she is attracting. So I leave you with this. Men don't just notice beauty, charm, or words. They notice the unseen, the unspoken, the energy behind it all. And when a woman embodies these 7 qualities, she doesn't just get noticed, she becomes unforgettable. The moment a woman walks into a room, before she speaks a single word, something is already happening. There's an unspoken energy that moves before her, announcing her presence in ways that words never could. This is not just charisma, not just confidence. It is the frequency she emits, the invisible field of emotion, intention, and self-awareness that dictates how others respond to her. Every human being is a walking broadcast station, sending out signals through their thoughts, emotions, and body language. And the truth is, people don't respond to what you say nearly as much as they respond to how you make them feel. A woman who carries herself with certainty, who operates from a state of inner peace rather than seeking external validation, emits a frequency that is magnetic. She doesn't need to seek attention, it naturally gravitates toward her. You've seen this before. You've met people who, without even trying, make you feel uplifted, at ease, or inexplicably drawn to them. And you've also met people who, despite saying all the right things, leave you feeling drained, uncomfortable, or unsure why you suddenly want to walk away. That's energy. That's frequency. And men, whether they realize it or not, are deeply attuned to this. A woman whose energy is rooted in desperation, insecurity, or unresolved emotions will always carry that with her. And no matter how beautiful she is, no matter how well she speaks, that energy will create an invisible barrier. But when a woman has done the work, when she has aligned herself with her worth, her purpose, and her joy, she begins to radiate something entirely different. She is no longer chasing, she is attracting. No longer proving, simply being. And here's the key. This energy cannot be faked. You cannot pretend to be at peace. You cannot force confidence. True magnetism comes when a woman is internally aligned, when she has let go of past wounds, when she moves through the world from a place of abundance rather than lack. That kind of energy is felt instantly. It changes conversations, shifts dynamics, and redefines how she is perceived. Men don't always know how to articulate it, but they recognize it. They feel when a woman is at home within herself. They feel when she radiates certainty, joy, and an unshakable sense of self. That kind of energy does not just get noticed, it leaves an imprint. 1/2. There is something rare, almost mesmerizing about a woman who is fully present. In a world constantly pulling our attention in 1,000 different directions, true presence is a lost art. Most people are somewhere else, mentally rehearsing past conversations, worrying about future outcomes, or simply distracted by the noise of daily life. But when a woman is truly here, engaged in the now, she becomes magnetic in a way that is both subtle and undeniable. Presence is more than just paying attention. It's an energy, a feeling of being completely absorbed in the moment without resistance, without distraction. You've seen this before, the way some people make you feel like the only person in the room when they speak to you. They're not half listening, not glancing at their phone, not lost in their own thoughts. They are fully there, and because of that, they make you feel seen, valued, and important. This is what men notice, not just how a woman looks, but how she makes them feel in her presence. A woman who is present isn't waiting for the next moment to arrive. She's not performing, she's not calculating her next move, she's simply being. And that being carries a power that is undeniable. She listens deeply, not just with her ears, but with her entire being. She responds, not out of habit, but out of genuine connection. Her laughter isn't forced, it's spontaneous. Her eyes aren't scanning the room, they're engaged. Her body language isn't stiff or rehearsed, it flows naturally. Men pick up on this instantly because presence is rare. Most interactions today are surface level, diluted by distractions, filled with people who are physically there but mentally elsewhere. But when a man encounters a woman who is truly present, something in him shifts. He feels more connected, more drawn in, because she is offering something that is nearly extinct in today's world: undivided, undistracted attention. This kind of presence cannot be faked and it cannot be forced. It comes from a woman who is at peace with herself, who isn't looking for the next thing to complete her, who understands that life is happening now, not in some distant future. She doesn't rush through conversations. She doesn't wait impatiently for her turn to speak. She simply exists in the moment, and in doing so she creates a gravitational pull that is impossible to ignore. There is an entire world behind a woman's eyes, a world that speaks volumes before she ever utters a word. The eyes are not just windows to the soul, they are the most unfiltered expression of a person's inner state. A man may not always be able to articulate it, but he will feel it. He will sense whether her gaze carries warmth or distance, curiosity or indifference, openness or walls built from past pain. A woman's eyes reveal more than her physical beauty. They hold the weight of her experiences, the depth of her emotions, and the presence of her spirit. A fleeting glance can communicate more than an entire conversation. There is a distinct difference between eyes that are full of life, wonder, and possibility, and eyes that have grown dull from disillusionment, resentment, or exhaustion. The energy behind them does not lie. Some women have eyes that invite you in, that make you feel seen, understood, and safe. These are the women who have embraced their own story, the triumphs, the struggles, the lessons, and have not allowed them to close their hearts. They have turned their wounds into wisdom, and that wisdom reflects in their gaze. When a man looks into the eyes of a woman like this, he feels something deeper than attraction. He feels a connection, a pull towards something real, something that exists beyond words. Then there are eyes that hold back, that hesitate to let anyone in. Eyes that have seen too much, felt too much, and have learned to protect themselves. This is not weakness, but it is a barrier, a shield that keeps others at a distance. Men notice this too. They sense when a woman is guarded, when there is an invisible wall between her and the world. It is not always about sadness or trauma. Sometimes it is simply the result of living too long in survival mode, of forgetting what it feels like to be open, to be vulnerable, to be truly seen. But here's the truth. Depth is not about perfection, nor is it about always being joyful or fearless. Depth is about authenticity. A woman whose eyes reflect truth, who is unapologetically herself, who allows her emotions to exist without resistance. She captivates without effort. It is not about having all the answers or carrying an air of mystery. It is about embodying a presence that feels real. A man may not consciously think, what is it about her eyes, but he will feel it. He will remember them long after the conversation ends. Because the depth behind a woman's eyes is not just something seen, it is something experienced. There is a profound difference between hearing someone and truly seeing them. A man might be surrounded by people who acknowledge his presence, who respond to his words, who engage in surface-level exchanges, but rare is the moment when he feels deeply seen, beyond his roles, his accomplishments, or the expectations placed upon him. And when a woman offers him that experience, it is something he does not forget. It's not about flattery or scripted compliments. It's not about making him feel important through words alone. It's about presence, about the way she listens, not just to what he says, but to what he means. When a woman engages with a man in a way that makes him feel like he is the only person in the room, something shifts. Her attention is undivided, her energy is focused, and he feels an openness that invites him to lower his guard, to be more than the version of himself he presents to the world. This is not about feeding his ego or stroking his pride, it's about connection. When a woman looks at a man with genuine curiosity, when she listens without waiting for her turn to speak, when she acknowledges the layers beneath his words, she creates a space where he feels safe to reveal more of himself, and that safety is rare. Most of the time, men move through life being measured by their success, their status, or their ability to provide. But when a woman sees past that, when she sees the man beneath the achievements, beneath the expectations, he feels something he may not even know he was searching for. It's in the little things, the way she remembers details he mentioned in passing, the way she notices the subtle shifts in his energy, the way she makes space for him to express himself without judgment or the need to fix him. It's in the moments of silence where he feels comfortable simply existing in her presence, without performance, without pretense. Men may not articulate this need, but they recognize it when it happens. They are drawn to the rare experience of being understood without having to explain themselves. And the woman who can offer that, who can see him beyond the surface, who can hold space for him without expectation, becomes someone he cannot forget. because in a world that often demands so much from him, she becomes a place where he can simply be. And that is powerful. There is something undeniably powerful about the way a woman moves through the world. Long before she speaks, before anyone knows her story, before her personality is fully revealed, her presence tells a silent story. It's in the way she walks, the way she carries herself, the way she takes up space, not just physically, but energetically. And men notice this instantly. A woman who moves with certainty, with grace, with an unshakable sense of self, sends a message without uttering a word. She does not rush, she does not shrink, she does not hesitate. She walks into a room as though she belongs there, not out of arrogance, but out of an inner knowing that she is enough exactly as she is. She doesn't need to demand attention because her presence naturally draws it. There's a rhythm to a woman who moves with confidence, a flow that suggests she is at peace with herself. It's not about perfection. It's not about having the most elegant stride or the most polished demeanor. It's about the energy behind her movement. Does she move with purpose, or does she seem weighed down by the world? Does she glide effortlessly through her environment, or does she appear as though she is trying to be invisible? The body always tells the truth. Posture matters, not because of appearances, but because it reveals how a woman sees herself. Shoulders back, head high, each step deliberate. This is not just about looking good, it's about embodying self-respect. A woman who carries herself with care, who walks as though she trusts the ground beneath her, sends a subconscious signal that she values herself. And when a woman values herself, others instinctively do the same. Even in stillness, there is movement. The way she sits, the way she leans in during a conversation, the way she holds her space. These details speak volumes. A woman who is comfortable in her own body, who is not fidgeting out of discomfort or retreating inward out of self-doubt, radiates a quiet power. She does not rush to fill silences with nervous energy. She does not fold into herself to avoid being noticed. She exists fully, unapologetically. And it's not just about confidence, it's about authenticity. A woman who moves through the world in alignment with who she truly is, who is not playing a role or wearing a mask, has an effortless presence that captivates. Men don't always realize why they are drawn to her, but they feel it. They feel the difference between someone who is walking through life unconsciously and someone who is moving with intention, with purpose, with a deep understanding of her own worth. It's not just how she moves, it's the energy behind every step. And that energy speaks louder than words ever could. Silence is often misunderstood. Most people rush to fill it, fearing the space between words as if it reveals something they don't want to confront. But a woman who understands the power of her silence commands a presence that is undeniable. It is in the moments when she does not speak that she is often the most heard. A man notices when a woman does not feel the need to overshare, to explain herself endlessly, to seek validation through words. He notices when she is comfortable enough in her own presence to let quiet moments exist without nervous energy or forced conversation. Silence, when wielded with intention, is not emptiness, it is depth. It is a space where real connection, real understanding, and real power reside. A woman who understands the strength of her silence listens more than she speaks, but when she does speak, her words carry weight. She does not rush to respond just to fill the air. She takes her time, absorbing the moment, allowing her thoughts to settle before she chooses to engage. This kind of patience, this kind of restraint is rare, and anything rare is valuable. There is also an allure to mystery, to restraint, to knowing that not everything needs to be said. In a world where people constantly broadcast their thoughts, their opinions, their emotions, a woman who does not give everything away at once stands apart. She understands that true intimacy is not built by flooding a conversation with words, but by allowing space for things to unfold naturally. She does not seek to be heard for the sake of hearing her own voice. Instead, she lets her energy, her presence, and her actions speak for her. Men are especially drawn to this because they are used to a world that demands constant reaction, constant engagement, constant noise. When a woman does not succumb to this pressure, when she is content in her stillness, it signals something different. Control, confidence, self-assurance. She is not withholding out of insecurity, she is selective out of wisdom. And then there is the silence that comes in moments of emotional intensity, the pause before reacting, the ability to hold space for someone else's emotions without rushing to fix or judge. This kind of silence is a force. It is the space where a man feels safe enough to open up, to be vulnerable, to let down the armor he wears in the outside world. It is the silence that speaks louder than words, the silence that says, I see you, I hear you, and I am present with you in this moment. Not all power is loud. Some of the most commanding, most mesmerizing forms of presence come from those who know when to speak and when to let silence do the work for them. A woman who understands this does not just get noticed, she is remembered, because in her silence there is something rare, something that cannot be grasped too quickly or too easily, and that is what makes it so powerful. Here's a speech in the style you requested, bringing everything together in a powerful conclusion. 7 hidden qualities men instantly notice in a woman. What if I told you that the most powerful things about a woman, the things that truly captivate, that linger in a man's mind long after she's gone, are not always the most obvious? It's not just about beauty, charm, or what society tells us is attractive. It's something deeper, something unspoken. Because the truth is, men notice things they can't always put into words. They may not be able to explain why they feel drawn to a woman, but they feel it. And what they're responding to isn't just what they see, it's what they sense. They notice the energy she radiates, the invisible force that speaks before she does. A woman who moves through the world with a sense of inner peace, with certainty, with presence, creates an unshakable magnetism. She doesn't chase, she attracts. She doesn't seek validation, she embodies self-worth. And that energy, it is felt instantly. They notice the depth behind her eyes, the unspoken story written in every glance, in every moment of stillness. The eyes don't lie. They reveal whether she is open or guarded, whether she carries warmth or hesitation. They show whether she has embraced her own truth, whether she has transformed her past into wisdom or allowed it to build walls around her heart. And when a man meets a woman whose eyes hold depth, he doesn't just see her, he experiences her. They notice her ability to make a man feel seen, not for what he does, not for the roles he plays, but for who he truly is beneath all of it. In a world that demands so much from him, where he is measured by his success, his strength, his ability to provide, a woman who sees beyond that, who listens deeply, who acknowledges his essence rather than just his achievements, becomes unforgettable. They notice how she moves through the world, not just in the way she walks, but in the way she exists. There is a difference between moving with confidence and moving with hesitation. A woman who carries herself with grace, who takes up space without apology, who walks with purpose and presence, sends a message without saying a word. She values herself, and because of that, others instinctively do the same. And then there is her silence. Not the absence of words, but the presence within them. A woman who does not rush to speak, who allows moments to breathe, who listens more than she responds. She holds a power that cannot be ignored. Silence, when used with intention, creates space for real connection. And in that space, a man feels something rare. He feels safe. He feels understood. He feels drawn in by something he cannot quite explain. You see, the qualities that truly captivate are not the loudest. They are not the ones that demand attention. They are the ones that exist in the subtle. in the spaces between words, in the energy that lingers long after a woman has left the room. Because in the end, attraction is not just about what can be seen, it's about what is felt. And a woman who understands that, she doesn't just turn heads, she touches souls.